you go. All right. Today we're gonna try, from our notes from last time, we're gonna try a kata of doing the FizzBuzz in pipelines. So I don't know. You want to just jump right in?
Yeah.
Pipelines, FizzBuzz Kata. There we go. All right. So let's start by actually, Jay, do you mind driving? Let's set up the mob timer for everyone.
Okay. Oops.
So we're actually everyone put in your name because I will test that we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But Jacqueline, let's put you second to last. Which one do you feel more comfortable with? I want to give you enough space since this is your first time.
Either is fine with me. I also have never written anything in C#, so this will be fine.
That's all right. There's a couple of us here who are new to C#.
Yeah. It's a great opportunity to learn. No.
Pardon?
It's a great opportunity to learn C# now.
That's what I thought.
It is. Yeah. And C# is a wonderful language. Jay, put your name in first.
Okay. Mouse is going haywire.
Just
Why
type
is
your name.
My mouse is going haywire.
That's probably because other people are touching their mouse.
Okay.
So maybe for Jacqueline, if you're using any desk, you have to disable controlling the keyboard and the mouse, because otherwise your mouse movements will influence the mouse of the other.
How do I disable that?
So in the menu bar at the top, there's this shield.
I don't see a shield. I'm on a Mac.
Okay, I'm on Windows, so I'm not sure. It's got
like a
permissions.
menu in the upper right. But I'm getting like a weird thing on AnyDesk. Is it working for other people?
Yeah, it seems so.
All right. Well, in that case, Valentine, put your name in.
Well, I can actually see that I'm not receiving any AnyDesk updates for 40 seconds now.
Okay. Yeah. The second clock is nice. I wonder if there's a way to turn that on Mac. I'm not either. Anyone else having success with AnyDesk at the moment?
It's frozen for me.
All right.
It's not frozen for me.
Can you put your name in, Jacqueline?
Let's see if I can.
Nice. All right. Let's see if I can do it now. I can. You unfroze it. So thank you. I'm not sure how you did that, but Robert, can you? And Valentine. Okay. No idea what just happened there. I'm still going to move you down to the bottom here.
Sure.
And that should work out good. What do you think for timing today? 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
We usually did 4 minutes. Did we do 3 minutes last time or something?
I thought we did 5 last time.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 is a long for 5 plus new member. Let's do 4.
Okay, 4 minutes.
And then a break on rotation. All right. Do you want to take a moment to sketch a story before we start the mob, or do you just want to jump right in? All right, we'll just jump right in. Jay, call it out.
Jay and I'm I am
Typing.
What is the first thing?
You're typing.
Typing.
I'm typing? I'm typing.
Llewellyn and I'm talking.
I'm Robert and I'm next.
Oh. Wait, what just happened? And I'm driving for you, Jay. Sorry. Type. Wow. Early morning. Start your turn, Jay.
Oh, it's my what?
Start your turn.
Oh, it's my turn. We're starting over. I'm Jay. I'm typing.
No. I mean, like, start the timer.
I'll start the timer. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You have to
Wait,
enable your
any
control.
desk into the machine, Jay?
I am AnyDesk, and I also have remote desktop. But I can't seem to start the timer for some strange reason.
I would suggest, because your AnyDesk is have some mouse turned off. I would suggest turn off the AnyDesk connection and just do the remote desktop.
Got it. Okay, I'll do that.
So we're actually on Jay's version of EC2 today. Since we were playing around with setting that up for multiple people yesterday. All right, can you start the timer now?
I still cannot start the timer.
Clicking anywhere on there in the big gray
Yeah.
from remote desktop?
From remote desktop.
That's disturbing because I can start it from AnyDesk.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Let me see if I can do other stuff. I cannot do anything actually.
From remote desktop.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. Okay, in that case, let's try logging you in with AnyDesk and see if we can do stuff in there.
Okay.
I'm not even sure how to turn off keyboard control in remote desktop. Is that a thing? Valentine, you might know that better than me.
No, I don't know.
I'll AnyDesk in again. Give me a sec.
I was about to be like all happy with like 10 minutes and we're up and running, which is like fast for us. And we're at 20 minutes again. Somehow that seems to be like a universal constant.
Okay, I can AnyDesk, but I can't remote desktop. All right,
Yeah, that's
so
weird, but start the timer.
okay.
And let's open up Visual Studio. I guess we're making a new repo. So how about FizzBuzz Kata?
Create new. Oh.
Test. MS test project.
Okay.
Sure, why not? FizzBuzz Kata.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Where are we gonna publish it? We're gonna put it on GitHub or?
Yeah. All right. Inside of here, can you go to NuGet and grab pipelines?
Oh, I don't know how to use.
Right click on
NuGet.
FizzBuzz Kata in the Solution Explorer on the right,
Okay.
and right click on it. Solution goes so sorry, it's a little hard to see. Yeah, there you go. And manage NuGet packages. Yeah. Do a search for refactoring. Go to browse on the tab at the top. Browse up at the top.
Oh,
It's currently on installed.
I'm sorry, I don't. Oh, here. Okay.
Yeah. And then inside here, do a search for refactoring pipelines. Yeah, and we want basically like all three of these things. Start with approvals. That would probably give us everything.
Is it possible to
refactoring.pipelines.approvals.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yep, and install that.
2 errors.
That is interesting. Detected downgrade MS test framework to a different version.
Okay, try to build. See if.
Okay.
See if,
Yeah, to build, rebuild. This probably has to do with one of the things we have this set up as, but it looks like it succeeded. Check your dependencies.
it always like
Complains.
packages sometimes is finicky. So
Open up your dependencies in Solution Explorer. Solution Explorer's tab on the right. Open up packages. No, it did not install. So I guess the first question would be, what is our property? Like, I'm assuming we're a .NET standard API, but I'm not sure if that's true.
I think it is. This is .NET Core, no, the unit test, and should be fine to
Rotate? Well, wish I got you to a better place. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
You able to add to the mob?
Yeah.
Great. Let's add you to the mob early on. I have a feeling you're gonna want some of your knowledge here. So I am Llewellyn, and I will be typing.
I'm Robert, and I should be talking. I think I will mostly rely on Valentin or Jay.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
I'm joining the AnyDesk now.
All right, Robert.
Well, since I'm completely new to .NET, or not entirely new, but I have no clue where to look, and I think Valentin has a rescue plan. I would like.
So why the package restore failed?
So I think it's complaining about MS Test Framework. If we uninstall that, maybe?
We can try to. Can you go to Updates tab? So you have Browse Install Updates. Sometimes delete the refactored pipelines. Yeah, it's so it wants to upgrade 2.10. Yeah. And let's try to install refactoring pipelines again.
Interesting.
Can you try to rebuild just to make sure we're fine? I think we're fine, but
all right.
Can you expand the packages just to make sure do we need a direct reference to the pipelines, or I mean it's included?
All the stuff here.
Okay, that's good.
All right, Robert. How do you like a test?
Yeah, so I'm still a bit searching for how FizzBuzz in pipelines should or will look like. But does it make sense to first have a test for just testing the FizzBuzz function we function that we throw in a number and we get either back the number fizz or buzz or FizzBuzz.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so how shall we call that function?
Your choice.
May I suggest like FizzBuzz? You can change the name later.
Sure,
Yes.
naming is a process. Let's try it. Then we have a very generic test called FizzBuzz. So we are writing the unit test here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's going on? There we go. Okay. What do you want me to do? Sketch
So
out.
I would like to build a test that asserts for if we insert 1, we get 1.
All right. So
If we, let's start with that. I think we should implement the function.
how do you want to architect that?
What do you mean with how do I want to architect
Maybe
that?
I'm calling a class or a static method or method as a member function, or I'm initiating with a constructor and then getting a value.
Can we have a plain function?
Yep. On what class?
That's not the plain function.
Yeah, it's like Java. Everything has to be an object, so kind of.
Yeah. Rotate. Call it out, Robert.
I'm Robert and I'm typing. I'm starting the calculator.
Oh, I'm Jay and I'm talking.
And I'm Valentin, and I'm next.
So I think here we're going to have a result equals FizzBuzz of 1. And on the next line, assert that result is 1. Everybody feel okay with that?
I feel good with that.
The only thing is, I think it will complain that FizzBuzz is the same as the name of
But
the
he
test.
said FizzBuzz of 1. I assume that meant FizzBuzz dot of 1. But I'm not sure. What did you want, Jay?
Let's rename the test to FizzBuzz test, and we'll get smarter later and make a better name.
Assert
right.
dot.
It's assert dot equal, or r equal, or is equal, or something. So assert
I
dot.
wanted to write assert.
Yeah. We do dot eq, and we'll pick one. R equal.
Equals is wrong. Robert.
Equals is not correct.
It's R equals. Equals is the default comparison operator, which is not what we were trying to do.
It is on instances, but in this case, whatever.
Yeah.
R equal.
So R equals is the name of the method. R.
AR.
AR, yeah.
And then let's generate the FizzBuzz method. So if you click on the red and hit Alt Enter, check the checkbox, apply all to all ReSharper shortcuts,
Yeah.
and then hit OK. And hit Enter, create method. And yeah,
Oh, no.
string is I think what we
String.
want out of this. So type string. And then enter. Cool. And here we could say return i.toString. Like we know that that'll make this test pass.
Sure.
You know, I feel a little conflicted about this kata. Like we have some goal here.
Yeah,
So-
but so I feel. I mean, I'm okay making this pass, but I feel like the next thing would be a refactoring into a pipeline and a test against the pipeline.
Sure, let's do that.
The only thing is the actual should be a string.
Yep. And can we turn on nCrunch? We'll hit Alt
yeah.
U.
I was feeling like we're missing something.
The ID is being way too helpful. Hit Alt U for end crunch options. Sorry, something.
I was just
Alt
going
U.
to say, as someone who's completely new to this, what exactly is a pipeline?
So we're not new to this, and we're still trying to figure out the answer to that question.
Okay.
So it's gonna resemble what you think a pipeline would be, like if you were doing, say, like CI, right? Like a CI pipeline
Okay.
or a data transformation pipeline. So far, we've only been using it for refactoring. So
Okay.
the whole point of this kata is to try to figure out maybe we should be using it for other ways. The rest of it is going to show up as we go.
Cool.
I know that's an
All right.
unsatisfactory answer.
Well, as long as it shows up as we go, I'm happy.
And
good
of course, feel free to ask questions at any moment.
Oh yeah, I will. I can already see that I will.
So it feels like we need to. Well, that test is passing. We're not seeing that test pass.
Enable and crunch. Okay. Let's switch.
So rotate.
Jay and I'm typing.
And Valentin and I'm talking.
Is this the point where I say that I'm Jacqueline and I'm next?
That is the point.
Okay, Jay. Yeah, start the timer. Enable and crunch. Let's see if the test passes.
This is that dumb. Yeah, run my tests alongside each other. Run all my
Yeah.
tests.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the green box though.
Okay, it takes a little time to. Oh, it's not. No, it's.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, it's a really large project, so this might take a while.
There's a whole line of code under test here. 1/1000th of 1,000 lines.
There we go. Okay. We got a green box.
Not yet.
Yeah, we do.
So we have the green up here, the okay, but I don't see any coverage dots over here yet. I don't know why.
That's true.
Can you hover over the project in the? It says it's not built. I don't know what that means.
But we got green.
No, at the in the Encrush test window.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Run selected tests. There we
Here it
go.
comes.
Dots. Yay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So we're.
So how do I read those dots?
Those lines are covered and by passing tests.
Oh, there. I see the dots. Never mind. Gotcha. I was looking at the graph. Sorry.
So, I mean, just structurally, we're looking at create a pipeline and then pass the data through it and return it.
Okay.
Let's refactor this, but I mean, before doing pipelines, can we, Jay, can you move the FizzBuzz method in a separate class? Yep.
No reason to make that static. No reason not to either. We're going to use static methods.
Oh, should we add this to source control? Right now it's not added.
That's a pretty good point. We always wait too long to do that anyways.
Okay.
So let's do that.
All right, I think I've completed your first instruction. What do you want me to do next?
Let's add this to source control to Git.
I feel like there should be a button here that does that.
I think there was the new button.
Is it in here? Add solution to source control?
Yeah. But can you open it in the cat? You have to. Yeah.
Where did
It's
you put
not
this?
in source. It's wherever the default one is. But if you, or you probably know where that is. There you go. Let's go take a look at it. Nothing's changed. Okay. Do they commit everything?
Yeah.
Show the history.
What was history?
Second tab. Huh? Okay.
All right, Valentine, what's next? Never mind.
Well, we've put you in a slightly unfortunate position, Declan.
Yeah,
Let's help you with some intention.
sure, that'd be cool.
I'm Valentin and I'm typing.
We can also do my turn is for learning if we need to.
Oh yeah. Do you want to lead that, Jay?
So my turn is for learning is a technique that says when you become navigator and you don't feel like you know what's going on, instead of trying to direct our next steps in the work, you ask us questions of things that you want to learn about. It can be whatever you want to learn.
That would be cool. Sure, I'm Jacqueline and my turn is for learning.
JC, I'm next.
Okay, so this Git window here, I'm curious about it. We've already committed to it and everything. How did we open it? I didn't see where you would click to do that, and how would I
purple
commit
cat.
next?
In the toolbar at the bottom, in the dock.
Oh, that one. Okay, thank you. And if I wanted to make a commit in here from our current project,
You
I
have
would
to
just
change something in the file. so-
change something. It would show up in the left bar, and then write a commit
Yeah,
message.
I mean, you
in
can
the
ask them to
description.
add a space or something.
No, that's okay. I think I can
You
figure
can
that
delete
part
that
out.
comment that's no longer useful.
I have a question. So is the for the Git is already linked to the remote repository?
It is not.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But
do you
that
do
would actually
that?
be a good thing to do because then we could go through a commit cycle and add names and stuff too.
Sure.
We do have a retro board, Jay.
Okay. How
Open
do
up
I?
mind up and you'll find it.
Yeah.
I don't have too much experience with the GitHub desktop. So how do I do that? How do I?
You have to change
I'm
the
also.
file.
Okay. Well, let's get rid of that useless comment now.
This one, line 13.
Yeah.
What is even wrong?
Cool.
Okay.
And then, how do we get this up remote then? Push it
Okay,
up.
so the first thing we have to do is we have to publish the repository. So let's publish it before we do this commit.
Okay.
So this is published GitHub.
Yeah, check. Who are you logged in as, Jay? Are you or are you the mob
Yeah,
guy?
so
We're logged in as the mob account.
Can the mob
Yeah.
account create things in the...
The organization. Let me check.
Or we can just put it on the mob account. That's actually no real problem. It's just Kata anyways. Okay, so just publish a repository.
Like that, no changes.
Yeah. Okay, now you'll see the people plus shows up at the bottom, so we can add names.
Okay. What name should first? What's the designated letter in front? It's
So it's a refactoring. We did it without proof, so it's going to be a capital R. But we could prove it if you wanted to, but it's up to you.
Isn't there a letter for comments?
There is a letter for
Or documentation?
Use that one. It's also, it's not just tests. Since we've mixed our production code in with our tests right now, we do not get that validation. Rotate. Jay?
Oh,
Or no, sorry.
no.
Jacqueline.
It's me. Yeah.
And you are?
I'm typing. I'm Jacqueline and I am typing. There we go.
I'm JC, I'm talking.
And I'm Llewellyn, I'll be next.
About the production code issue. I think, can we just ignore that for now? Since
Well,
this is the
we can just
first
do a
one?
capital R for refactor.
Okay, all right. Then can we just say first commit then? So
It's
3
not our
spaces
first
after the
commit,
R.
but you can totally say that.
Oh, it's not? All right.
Our
So
second.
okay, so then I guess we're testing for when the test case is 1, right? So let's say
So
Well, no,
thi-
what's the refactoring that we did?
the refactoring. So we refactored FizzBuzz into a class.
No.
No.
Look
we
at your
just removed
change over there.
the comment.
Oh, okay. So yeah, sorry. Right. Jacqueline, can you type removed comment?
Sure. With a capital or lowercase r? Okay.
A capital R. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, capital R. Okay.
And then let's put in everyone's name. Should we let everyone type then?
Yeah, that's a better way to do this.
So Jacqueline, can you put in your GitHub handle in the description? I think
No,
you can
not
just
in the description, on the co-authors.
on the co-author. Sorry, so you can click on
here.
Yeah.
You have to click the search for user.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then I guess we'll just go by the mob order, and then I'll go next. Okay, Llewellyn.
Oh, no. Okay. Robert. Jay.
Jay.
And Jack. Oh no, Jacqueline's already in.
I'm already in there, yeah.
Valentine.
I'm sorry, Valentine. Ugh. All right.
Great. Yeah, that looks good. Should we go ahead and commit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm assuming it's the button that's labeled commit to master.
Yep.
All right, great. All right, let's go back to let's get a test for test case 3.
JC,
Yes.
is it possible to do some refactoring? Can you think of some refactoring that you can do to
Introduce pipelines.
not necessarily, whatever you think, JC, whatever you think it's a good idea to.
Yeah, I don't know enough about pipelines to refactor into pipelines right now. I think the only thing I can really contribute is the test case for 3, at least to get it started before my time runs out. But I'd be open to suggestions if there's like a better refactoring. I think someone mentioned that we can give it a better name, for the test can be named better.
We can split the production code from our test.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then let's do that. Can we make a new file for the
So you went right to details, but if you just say the intention, like ReSharper will do that for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Click on the class and quick fix, which is alt enter.
Switching up?
Let's just see that before we hit break.
Sure. Where would you
Click on the class name, which is an underscore.
Okay.
And hit alt enter. And move to underscore CS. Separate.
Oh, cool. Awesome. That's awesome.
All right. We're going to do a 4-minute break. See everyone then.
AJ, I missed your presentation.
Thursday.
I'm gonna watch the recording.
Me too. Yeah, he said he was recording it, so I'm looking forward to that. And some of my favorite talks ever are recordings from this meetup where the audio quality is terrible. And so I'm hoping that this one, the audio quality is good because I have a fancy microphone.
Find the recordings if I'm interested in them.
Sorry, I missed part of that.
Oh, where would I find the recordings if I'm interested in them?
Twitch.
I will find one and send a link.
Perfect, thank you.
You can watch us live right now.
That's true.
I didn't even turn on the comments.
I am watching us live right now. Right there.
Good. By the way, is everything working? Like, I think I'm getting the format out now, so it should be like sounds working and stuff.
All right, should we go? Are we ready?
Give me 1 sec.
Okay. Oh, hey, Damien.
Hello. Good morning or afternoon.
Good morning.
Do you need me to add Damien in a list somewhere?
Yeah. Put them at the end, but before the break.
Sorry for the late join.
It's all right. I was glad to have you.
I'm Jay, and I will be typing when we decide it's time.
Well,
You'll have a lot of code to catch up on, Damien.
can we change my name to JC so that it's not confusing?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
Jay is actually JC. Bazuzi
Oh.
is Jay.
Okay. Yeah. So, can we? Yeah, thanks.
And then now I can, oops, oh, that's neat. It rolls over. Okay, good. Now I know that I'm not supposed to be the next person typing. All right, I'll hand control back.
Great. Okay. All right. I'm Jay, and I'm typing.
I'm Llewellyn, and I'm talking. All right. Let's go.
I'm Lord, and I'm next.
change- Oh, I'm sorry. Let's change that class name from an underscore F2. We'll do a refactoring.
hitting
To
F2.
FizzBuzz.
I'm hitting F2 and nothing's happening.
It is.
Oh,
Type
it is?
FizzBuzz now.
Oh, okay.
Hit enter.
It's gonna have a name conflict.
You can't do FizzBuzz. I guess you can't. So undo that. And change the FizzBuzz method to just convert. F2 also.
To convert?
Yep.
Okay.
No. Oh, maybe.
Like that?
Did that refactor?
I hit F2 before I did it, but I haven't hit enter yet.
Hit enter. No, something seems wrong. Like our build's not working. Put it back on. Let's see what's going on. Why is our build failing?
Put something back on.
So our build is failing. I think isn't that what that means? Okay.
I don't think F2 did the refactoring.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you revert?
Go.
If it's possible to revert.
Yeah. Just go to the GitHub cat and revert it. Revert.
Like here, and then.
No, I think this is the. We didn't save. We didn't check in the file creation.
Oh,
No.
I see.
Wait. What do you mean? If we didn't check in the file creation, then the other thing that should have changed is the unit test. Our code is not automatically saving.
Oh, yeah. So didn't do that either.
We missed that step last night. It opens the web page, but you have to actually click through to do the install, unfortunately.
All right. Do you want to pause and set up environment together, Jay, or do you just want to push it in? All right. All right. So let's find it. Go back to the code, save everything.
And the unit test class.
Now go back to GitHub and revert it. We'll try it again.
But GitHub will revert.
It will revert everything. So right click on the checkbox at the top and say revert, discard. Yes. Now go back to the kata. We're going to first go to line 22 and rename this to convert. Line 22.
When I hit F2, is something
Yep.
supposed to pop up?
Try Control RR.
Yeah, Control RR.
Oh, wrong keyboard shortcut. Sorry. Here, type convert. Yep. And then next, click on class name on 20. Do the same thing, Control RR, and rename this to FizzBuzz. And then Alt Enter one more time and move it to FizzBuzz. And then save everything. Save everything.
This one?
Control Alt Shift. Yep.
Okay.
And then things pass. Okay, and commit. Whew. I'm Llewellyn and I'm typing.
And I'm Robert and I'm talking. And Jay is next. So let's commit this change.
Two spaces.
I think that's 4.
Sorry.
Okay. So we want to refactor 2 pipelines now?
Yes.
Then I need some help, I think.
We have an actual page that should work for this. Refactoring to async.
Yep.
Tutorial here.
Oh, no tutorial.
It's only one line of code, but we can still implement this.
Okay, so let's implement step 1. Oh, that's the template. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Keyboard things. Copy. Paste. All right.
So so let's execute these steps.
So our input is int. So input type equals new input pipe of int. You need a name.
There's like an extra I in input pipe.
In the name.
Pi.
Oh,
Pi
you put
pi.
I.
Input pi pi. It's double pi day. All right. I need a name still for this input pipe.
That's the name for the input parameter, I think. That,
Yep.
Let's call it number.
All right.
Okay. Back to the tutorial.
Back. You mean documentation?
Yeah. So I think we did this before, right?
Yeah.
When we did, it's just so long ago that I got most of the details. So we have done step 2. We have a input pipe.
We have an input
Yeah.
pipe. We haven't put
you
anything
sure?
into it, and we have not put any converters or anything in it.
Mm-hmm. Can you go back to the tutorial?
Yep.
So we have done step 2. We create an input pipe. So let's now do step 3. Place a proof of tests to get insight into the pipeline. Okay. Let's do that.
It's when I'm clicking on it, it's not. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting beeps. Anyone else? Click. Okay, no, I can do it now. Pipeline approvals dot verify. All right. Okay.
Sorry, I'm Robert and I'm typing.
I'm Wazuzi and I'm talking.
I'm Valentin and I'm next.
Do we verify this now? Is that our next step?
I mean, yeah, it's not launching because you're doing incrunch and incrunch won't launch.
Sure, let's do that. So run the test under ReSharper. So right click on the icon next to the test and say run. Control RL is run all.
Probably have to open up the test first. In the tab.
So switch files back to unittest.cs and then right click on that half moon looking thing.
Right click.
Sure. Run all. And this should show us a diff. No, it's not going to show us a diff because we don't have a diff reporter turned on.
Oh, it should. Oh. That's probably a good point. We probably need to. It's probably what's telling us if you read the message.
Yeah. So go back to the source code, and at the top of the test class, we're going to add an attribute of use reporter.
I click next to this window. It's not disappearing. How do I? Do I just?
You can close the window, or you can dock it as a document. Either.
Okay.
So on line 7.5, we're going to add an attribute with the square brackets. Type use reporter, USE. And then the parameter you pass in here is type of diff reporter. Now run the test again. Dock this window.
Into files actually. How do I dock it? What do you mean with docking?
Grab the title bar of it, and we're going to start dragging around. Drag it to that very middle of the big plus.
Sorry, the right middle.
The
Go
very
down.
middle of the big plus.
You want your mouse to land.
Sure, what's happening? But
Point.
the screen is freezing for me. Let's see any changes in there it goes. It's slow.
But
With
your
your
mouse is way
latency.
over to the side. It needs to be in the middle of the screen, like the
Yeah.
dead center middle of the screen.
Your latency is going to make this really hard.
I'm 15 seconds behind now.
All right. So I think we just learned that putting the server in London does not help you.
It's the first time this is now it's caught up again.
Oh,
So let's try again. So where do I put it?
you need to put your mouse in the middle of the cursor, that square.
There's
So,
another way to do it.
Well,
that
when I
shouldn't-
click it,
You can
okay,
see my mouse cursor
yeah,
right here. It means dock it in the middle of the window. There you go.
There.
okay. Never seen
Yeah,
that.
it's a really annoying way of moving windows around, but it works.
Okay,
What does this error say?
let's find empty files actually.
Didn't we have to do something to use the dot reporter?
But we're not even to the dot reporter
Oh, we
question.
aren't.
This should be a plain text reporter, right? Because it's
So the issue at play is there are two files that end in a dot extension. One is GraphViz files, which are text files, and the other is a format for Microsoft Word, which is there. So we have to sort of override it. There might be information on that in the approvals setup. I thought we had that, but
I'm busy and I'm typing.
I'm Valentin and I'm talking.
I'm Jacqueline, and I'm next.
Okay. Do you know how to fix this issue?
go into. Can you control click into the pipelines approvals and see what that source code looks like? Yeah, so it looks like add text extension on line 23, or sorry, line 13. Should be doing that. But it does not appear to be. For which I don't have a great answer right now. Any ideas, Jay? We could try
Can we
just
force
force
a
it.
different reporter?
Yeah. Well, so let's hold on. Go back for a second. Let's. We can try a Visual Studio Code Reporter.
Where's that going?
It would be Visual VS Code Reporter, maybe. No. So do a Visual Studio Reporter for a second. Yeah. Run that. Nope, 'cause it still is doing. I can't even do this part. We could try putting the empty files in that one of those directories. Current domain empty files, code base empty files. It must be a directory somehow. Should we try to find it?
I don't know what that means.
Let's look in our directory for that directory. So can you open up the directory in Finder? It's not Finder. There we go. Go up a directory. Go. Okay, so this is the base directory. Go into the Kata, I guess. Go into the bin or the object. Let's try the bin. Debug. Core. Scroll down, I guess. I don't see anything here that looks like that.
Is this empty files ideal?
This is empty files that's causing the problem. Alternatively, we can just make a copy of the file. So if we go look in your, stay in Finder. Open this in Finder again. And clone the dot received and call it approved instead. And that in and of itself is not going to help us so much. So also, wait, go back. Go to the, oh, it ran again. Well, right click on the approved and open it in VS Code. And then view the, what is that, like Control Shift V? Founding?
I'm Valentin and I'm typing.
I'm Jacqueline, and if you guys are okay, I'm going to do some more learning.
Yeah, I agree with that. Damien?
Ah, yeah, and I'm Damien, and I'm then next, I guess.
There you
Or
go.
am I talking?
You're next.
Okay.
So-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jacqueline. Ask.
No, I said go ahead, Valentin.
Sorry. So, how do I view the?
I think it's like Control-Shift-V.
Yeah.
All right, so we have input.
Okay.
Okay, so what are we looking at here? I've never seen something like this.
This is the
before.
start of a pipe.
Okay. Cool.
It takes
And
an int32 called number.
oh, okay. So that's basically what we've put into when we did that initialize with the number. That's what made this happen.
Mhm.
Okay. Very cool. And what was the reporter that we did? The use reporter type of
Yeah,
visuals?
that should be a diff reporter.
Okay, and what is a reporter?
So a reporter is what opens things when our tests fail. So that should have
Okay.
opened VS Code. It did not.
Okay.
But it didn't because it couldn't create that approve file because of the thing I mentioned about the dot file being in two places, and I'm not sure why that stopped working, but I'll talk to Simon about it.
Okay, cool. So what would be the next step for getting the next piece of that pipeline going?
So if you go back to the test, there are comments in there saying what the steps are. So we have set up the pipeline. Well, we've kind of set up the pipeline. The original code hasn't moved there, but there is documentation on that page that will tell you sort of what to do with the original code and how to move it.
So we added the reporter, and then move this to a method. So add the process.
You can use the Lambda nowadays. That documentation is slightly out of date.
Okay.
Step three shows that we should have used a dot reporter. Did we try that?
Also out of date. But the dot reporter would work. But or maybe the dot reporter doesn't exist anymore.
Okay. So I'm gonna do this now. The step 5. So we.
Although we are learning stuff. Like we need to improve our documentation. But you have an input pipe, but you don't have anything. Like you haven't moved that method, right? Like you need to move line 14 into the pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Does that make sense, Jacqueline?
Yes, the documentation, if I'm understanding, is saying that line 14 needs to be or 15 now needs to be a separate method, or
It doesn't need to be a separate method. You can do it as a lambda, but you do need to put it into the pipeline.
Yeah. What does a lambda look like in C#?
What language are you used to?
Java.
A thick arrow.
Okay.
It's process function for lambdas.
Yep. No, it's process.
Process
function for functions.
Okay, and so can I use
You need a letter. Yep.
or can go like
Yeah. Rotate.
okay, let me just finish this. And, okay.
I'm Jacqueline and I'm typing.
I'm Damien and I'm talking.
I'm Jay and I'm next.
Okay, the timer's starting. Perfect. So we added this new thing. Can we have a look at the documentation again? Just bring it up briefly.
Also, if you manually run the test, you should get a new approval file.
Okay, gotcha. So here it says starting, if the code isn't in the method, extract it into one first. Okay, so let's move it into the method, whatever the
you don't
code
have to do
is.
that anymore, Damien. The lambda
Sorry?
is sufficient. This documentation was written before we had lambdas.
Ah, yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Sorry, I was just like rebuilding the context. So I think if we go to the code then, we haven't moved any code into the lambda yet, right? We only called toString on it.
That is the code.
Ah, that is the code that we're trying to move into.
All our codes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I guess then we need to go to the next. Ah, the pipe isn't wired up yet, though, right? It only says pipe equals input pipe process.
As Luenan suggested, can we rerun the test? I want maybe to see how it looks like.
Sure.
Sure. So that would be in the test file here.
Yep. Now it's modified. You can view it with the control shift V. Was that it?
Yes. I'm not sure on Mac.
Control Shift V works on Mac.
All right. So now we have a pipe that has a number, calls toString on it, and gives you a string.
Jacqueline, does it make sense? I mean, does this look more like a pipe?
It does look a little bit more like a pipe now, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So in the documentation, it talks about adding a collector and sending input in. I'm guessing that the string that we see in this image here is not a collector yet, right? It's just an intermediate form. It's kind of the next thing in the pipe that
we have no collectors right now.
Okay, so let's try and add the collector in. So if we begin with the guide again, it has a couple of examples or like 3 lines there under number 6. I'm not sure if they are still up to date or outdated, but let's copy them and just try, I guess, and put them into the code.
Ooh.
Yep, I guess there's send through pipeline. I guess we can, well, actually set up pipeline might also be the relevant one. So in line 10.5, I guess this one, yep. So if we paste the code.
Oh, my paste is not working the way it normally does.
Is it Control V or Command V?
It's usually Command V on Mac.
Try Control V.
Control V, okay.
So Control C and Control V, maybe.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yay!
Control works, yay, okay.
Okay, cool. So method call pipe would just be pipe, I think. In line 10 we named it pipe, so I'm assuming this would just be called pipe.
Sure.
And then we see starting point. So starting point is, I think, now called input pipe. So if we rename in line 12 starting point to input pipe.
Okay.
We've got the rotation.
Yes. Just wanted to finish typing that word.
Nice.
Call it out, Damien.
Ah, yeah. Am I hitting the rotation then?
Yep, because you're the typer. But after
That makes
the
sense.
call out has been completed.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so I'm Damon and I'm typing.
I'm Jay, I'm talking.
I'm Yuan and
Okay.
Okay, Damien, let's finish what you were doing before. I think this line is done, right? And then you said that method call collector was input pipe as well. Should we just refactor it instead of typing it manually?
Give me a second. I'm just starting the timer to stop annoying us. Okay, sorry. Repeat the last sentence.
Yeah, so I think we should be using refactoring. Like, is it possible to use refactoring in Visual Studio rather than?
Yeah, but you don't have something that works, so you can't refactor yet.
Oh, I see. Okay, then let's go ahead and keep doing what you were doing. Rename the line on 13, the method call collector to method call collector to input pipe. Oh,
No.
No.
The red needs to compile.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
The red needs to compile.
So that's the error. Visual Studio is saying that you have something that's wrong. So you'll need to fix that first.
So what are
This
we
is-
actually
the first
sending
round.
into the pipe?
So
Yeah, I don't know what to send into the pipe.
The number, the I.
Send
can
the
you
number.
see the type completion, like the little overlay that it shows now?
Yeah.
Maybe
And
that
it
helps.
says-
So it says send takes an int, any
Oh,
value.
int. Okay, so it would be the input pipe.
No, input pipe is not an int.
Um,
What's the only int you have is a variable right now.
it's supposed to be the number, but
Yes, and what
I don't
what's the
even
name
see
of
it.
the variable that's the number?
I don't see it.
It's on line 6.
I. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And then erase that and put I. Okay, and then yeah. Okay, then single result.
So right now it's failing at approvals, which means you've never approved our pipeline.
How do you know that we're failing at approvals?
Do you see where the red X is?
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So if you go to
Okay.
the receive file, you can approve it.
The what file?
The receive file.
I don't know what that is either.
It's in Visual Studio Code. It's the file we've been looking at.
Oh, okay.
Should we
Sorry.
run the test first?
It's being run all the time because of.
So I'm getting a bit confused because I have like 3 navigators now. Who is telling me what to do? That might be easier.
So JC, you whatever we're telling you, you say it again, and then he only has to listen to you.
Okay.
So just repeat
So
it.
yeah, so someone was saying something to me before. Because I'm getting a little confused too.
So this is the receive file that you're looking at. Until it becomes the approve file, until it matches the approve file, this test will not pass.
And what is the approve file?
It's the one that ends in .approve.
And what does that do?
That is what we said is okay. So this is
I
the thing we
don't-
say is okay. The receive file is the actual what we got. Until those things match, this test will not pass.
It might become clearer if we add that next to each other, I suppose. Maybe.
But not the visualizations, the actual text.
Yep. Let's bring that too as well.
Does it help to say in unit tests we often use the word actual and expected, and in approval tests we use the word received and approved?
Oh. Okay.
So let's take a break. Just gonna drive for a second. All right, we'll see you in 4.
Hey, Damien. This is my first time that I see you.
Ah, nice. Yeah, it's my. Oh, 1 second. I might still be muted.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
I'm not. Ah, yeah. Nice to meet you. It's my second time in this session. Are you here the first time, or did we just miss each other last time?
Missed each other last time. It was actually my first time missing the mob.
Yeah,
Ah,
Valentin has
right.
been here since the beginning.
Wow, nice. Okay, that explains where you have all this expertise from.
And so I'm in my day-to-day work. I work in C#, so I know more about C#. Do you do what do you work in your day-to-day?
Most of the time it's TypeScript actually and Node.js. So, JavaScript. There's a thing called JavaScript or Node.js overload or JavaScript overload, I think. We have that. But when I'm lucky, I can work in some old 10-year-old Java code bases as well. Not so much C# yet.
Okay. I worked a little bit with TypeScript in my previous jobs. It's easier than JavaScript.
I'm working with it right now. It's kind of nice.
I think you can notice like the expertise of the language designers, right? Like the researchers that work at Microsoft and design languages. Pretty good stuff, for sure.
All right, so I wanted to bring something up before we start.
Can you wait for Jay
Yeah,
buzzes?
Jay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I also wanted to bring something up, Llewellyn, mostly directed at JC, basically. But I'm not sure what it is that you wanted to say.
Oh no, go for it. Mine is bigger. So.
Okay. Yeah, JC. Just wanted to say sorry, or I had the feeling that the last session was a little bit. We were a little bit lost, right? Like I think, especially for you, you got a little bit lost. And I think what helps me when that happens usually is to just keep asking questions until I understand what is happening. So when I'm navigating and I don't really understand what I need to do, sometimes it's okay to not write any code and just like try to catch up on the conversation and raise the questions that you're having. You might have realized this as well, but yeah, that's just something I felt a second ago, right? Just like that maybe you didn't catch up quite with what was happening, and I tried to not say anything, and that was really just because I wanted you to drive me, right? That was or to navigate me. Yeah.
Oh wait! Did you know what to do? Did you know how to do what he was asking, Damien?
I didn't know what to do, what he was asking, but I think what you didn't or don't know or don't understand is approval tests yet, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to suggest actually that we take a minute now or two just explaining to you the concept of it, since we have Llewellyn here. And then I think everything should get a lot clearer from that, unless I misread that and you actually do know what they are.
I think there are others that don't know about approval tests, so it'll be good.
I've read about them, but I would appreciate another summary.
I attended that talk that Llewellyn did on approval tests a couple of months back. And
Which talk was that?
I have a vague memory of it.
Oh, wait, did I do a talk on approval test a couple months back?
There's so many talks you forget about.
I give a lot of talks, but did I do a talk on it? I did a talk on many of one a couple months back.
Is that not part of the approval test?
Oh no. I mean, I talked about approval test in it, but it's yeah.
Well, we can talk about two things. It's okay.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, so we're at the half hour to where we're intending to close, although we often don't hit that deadline. We're getting close to retro. This has been super illuminating to me, and I would like to play in that space for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But like normally when we're mobbing, my goal is like just get the mob together, moving together. But also in this particular instance, I just have very selfish wanting to understand pipelines better, and this has been really helpful for me. Probably in a way that like is just mainly confusing to everyone else. I would love to take like 10 or 15 minutes to try to demo what I've learned. Would people be okay with that? Like, I would break the mob paradigm right now, but I feel like there's some interesting stuff that has occurred that'd be fun to play with.
If you take 10-15 minutes, then we can we can stop and do retrospective.
Yeah.
Or do what?
But I'm hijacking the mob. So I'm asking your permission to let me hijack the mob for it.
We could always time box it, I suppose. Sorry, Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, he said 10-15 minutes, just, till the end of the... And then we do retrospective. Whatever we do these days.
Would it help if Llewellyn drives me, then he's having to talk out loud through his process?
Okay. Do we want to vote on that?
Let's do a vote on that. All right, thank you. I appreciate this. Jay, let's start. We're going to literally do this exercise again from what I've learned from what we've done so far. So can we make a new test, like unit test 2? And let's just comment this old test out so we don't have to worry about it.
What if we, or if I...
Is it a new unit test or
that
unit
works
test?
for me too. All right, so let's do a test method, FizzBuzz pipeline. All right, and then the only thing in here is going to be approval or pipeline approvals.verify, create FizzBuzz pipeline. And you can throw that right in here, I don't care. Okay, and yeah, and just return a new input pipe of integer, because we know it takes an integer. Number, yeah. Okay, and then let's run this manually, and that should pop our approval file. Okay, and it's failing for the same stupid reason, but whatever. Open up the receive file in VS Code. Okay, and then show the visualization of this side by side. Control-Shift-V. All right, and then let's go to the nodes. So on line 7, can you arrow this into, so the number should go to a string, right? So just say string, yeah. Actually, so I was expecting that to do something. Sorry, thank you. That goes to, oh, because this is in formatting. Oh, that's weird. There should have been a node in there. Okay. Oh, okay. But so we have this number goes to string. Okay, but actually the number should go to like string converter. So let's call it string converter. And then it also needs to go, so let's put like in curlies or square brackets or curlies. I think it's curlies. So also it needs to go to like a 3 converter.
Go more? Or
yeah, do that for a second. Let me just see it. Okay, and then so let's actually make it go to a fizz converter and a buzz converter. Okay, and then what I'd actually like on the next line, let's have fizz converter go to a combiner. And then let's have buzz converter also go to a combiner. And then, but I don't actually want string converter to go to the combiner. I want the string converter to go after the combiner. So let's get the, no, I want the combiner to go into the string converter. And let's take the string converter out of the thing above. All right, so we take the fizz, we take the buzz, we put it into a combiner, and we get a string converter. So let's approve this. Oh, yeah, no, that works. Yeah, so that approved. And let's start by popping that pipeline so it actually works. So put that input pipe into a variable. And then next, say input pipe dot process function. Let's just use functions here because I think it's going to be easier to think. And we had a fizz combiner or converter, yeah. And so we need to create a fizz converter function. And this is going to take an integer and return a string, an empty string for right now. Yep. So wait, hold on. I kind of expected that to work, that fizz converter. Why is the fizz converter not working? Okay, it is working. Can you pull it into a pipe called fizz? Fizz pipe, I guess, is probably a better name. Okay, and then let's clone that and make a buzz pipe. And then, yep.
You can talk a little ahead of me. It's okay.
Well, I think right now let's run it and see how the received is, if it's actually doing what I think it's doing. Visualize that. Is it not visualizing? There you go. Okay, good. So numbers coming in, they're turning into strings. Go back. And let's combine these two pipes. So on 32, what is that? Fizz pipe dot join to the buzz pipe, and then do a dot. And I'm just going to lambda this together right now, so do a process. Yeah, and so A comma B goes to A plus B. And this is going to be our joined pipe. So, and then the next one is going to be join pipe dot process function, and I feel like default text or default string is going to be the thing here. So this is going to take us. Oh, but we lost the number already. Oh, that's interesting. So we need to join this with the number, or do we pop? Oh, go back to the pipeline.
I think you have to fork 3.
The number needs to go into the A plus B. Yeah. So like this is going through. It gives the two things. The number has to snake around again, so we have to join. We gotta take the input pipe and join that to the input pipe. Yeah, and then take that and pass it to the default pipe. So weird. Okay, so yeah, and then process this, and then again A comma B. This is actually probably better to put text comma number.
What?
Default pipe. No, what you're doing. So make a function called dpipe. Yeah, default pipe. It's going to take, I believe, a string and a number. Join pipe is joining to the input pipe. The number should be second. Oh no, it's going to take a tuple. I don't think you get to decompose it. So a tuple of string comma number. And yeah, string a number. And right now just return an empty string. Okay. Can you scale that so it fits on the screen? The top bottom scale. Okay, cool. Now let's wire it up really quickly and see if it works. Approve that. Okay, so I'm going to wire it up quickly, although if I was doing this in real life, I'd probably take the individual functions and test them. But let's just do a system test. So go up to the very top.
Very top.
The test. Make it a second test. So this is going to be test system. And do a approvals.verify all. Regular approvals. Verify all. Empty header, I don't care right now. But the enumerable is going to be enumerable from 1 to 20. Dot range, yeah. And then the lambda is going to, the lambda is going to be I goes to, and then string interpolation, I goes to, your curly's are wrong. You need curly's around the I, and you need curly's around the create FizzBuzz pipeline dot process. Oh no! Now we need an actual function that does stuff with the pipeline. So call it convert. So convert and then pass it I. Yeah. And then let's create a method called convert. And here, so first create the FizzBuzz pipeline. I feel like I missed a step, but create the FizzBuzz pipeline on 40. And then next do our inputs and outputs. Get inputs of int, and then dot and outputs, and outputs. There we are. Of string, and then hold on to that. And the reason that is going to fail is if we scroll down to our pipe, create pipeline, on join pipe 2, can you do a join pipe 2.collect? Not collector, collect. Yeah. Good enough. And then here, do a return, or no, sorry, inputs and outputs dot push, or whatever it's called, send the number, and then return inputs and outputs dot output 1 dot single. Is that? I think we have to do a single result on that. Yeah. Okay. Now I totally want to see what's going on line 36. Can you run that independently?
Oh, independently. I ran all.
That's fine. Tomato, tomato. Did something else open up? Or what does system test tell me as a failure? What? Yeah, just run that one. What's happening?
Root file not found.
Okay. Show me the receive file for that one.
Which one is it?
It's going to be
Last one.
The last one. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good. So everything goes to blank right now, which is totally what we would expect. So now let's go back. And let's take the, let's start at the very bottom. So on default pipe, do a ternary here and say, if string and number dot item 1 is empty.
There's no.
That's fine. Just double equals empty string because we know it's actually in it. Then return string and number dot item 2 to string. Otherwise, string and item 1. Okay, so run that, and now we should see everything filling in. Yes. Okay, and now go to FizzBuzz or the Fizz one, Fizz converter, and here. Do a ternary again and say if r modulus 3 is 0, return fizz.
Not useful.
Not as useful as you would think. If return r modulus 3 equals 0, then fizz. Otherwise buzz. Or no, otherwise 0. Otherwise empty argument. No, empty argument. Empty argument. Yep, and Yep, fizz. Good, and I'll do
Nice.
with buzz basically the same thing. And literally that should be the solution.
What would it be?
I think it handles
Yeah.
15. Put the semicolon in.
You don't think? No.
FizzBuzz!
Yes, it does.
Wow.
Nice job.
So I'm super happy with this. Thank you for letting me do that.
So can you explain a little bit?
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
I saw,
I love-
saw this pattern this morning on an article because I'm learning Clojure right now.
Yeah.
I just saw them implement this. Someone wrote an article on how to do this in Clojure. But I'm not sure what does this have to do with approval tests.
I mean, so the approval test part of it does two things. So if you go to the Visual Studio Code and take this receive file and rename it as an approve file, and now look at that test again, you'll notice it's passing. Right, so you see all the green that just popped up. So if you like test system line 36, literally test all of FizzBuzz from 1 to 20, right? And I'm doing it in a single line, and like that's the power approval test gives you, right? And we got to see like forest and trees, all the numbers, convert all the little steps. Like I get a lot of feedback in granularity and test coverage from very little code, right? Likewise, approval tests allows us to verify that pipeline. So if we go to the pipeline that popped up, also in VS Code.
Jesse, does that make sense to you? Does it make it clear what
yeah,
approval
thank you.
tests are?
I mean, I'm trying to remember what Llewellyn taught me like a couple of months back, so it's a little bit fuzzy, but I kind of understand. Like I guess if I try to describe it and someone corrects me if I'm wrong,
That would be good.
Yeah. So it looks like approval tests here is showing like a end-to-end test, and saying like how should like the input flow through a pipeline and and how how should it flow through the pipeline, and then how should the results look like, depending on the input. Is that
So
insane?
approval test is showing us an end-to-end test because I wrote an end-to-end test with approval tests, right? But what approval test is really going, can we go back to that line of code? It's saying, like on line 36, it's saying take the numbers from 1 to 20 and run them through this function, right? Which puts them into the string. And then create a file of all, like serialize that into a file and make sure it matches what you said matches before. So if you go back and look in the VS Code, this is the file name that we're looking at. Unit test 1 is because that class name was unit test 1. Dot system test because that test name was system test or test system. And then dot approved because that is what we said is okay. And dot text because it's a text file. Right? And if it doesn't match, so like if actually this should probably work. Do something like type an extra Z in Fizz. And run the test physically. So now it should pop up. Yeah, there we go. So now it's popping up beyond compare and saying, hey, look, this is what we got, and this is what you said was okay. Right? And the reason it's not popping up beyond compare when you don't do it is InCrunch runs on keystroke. And so if it launched a program on keystroke every time you did something, that's just super annoying. So approval test recognizes that InCrunch is running it and does not report during those times.
Okay.
Could it print out a text diff to the console and that would show up in the InCrunch window?
It could do that, yeah, with the like by reading the files and using the reporter. We could make a better reporter. It might even be doing that. It might not have been reading that.
Llewellyn, just to make sure I understand correctly, so the approval tests are orthogonal to the pipelines.
Yes.
Something separate. So approval tests, you write something, you serialize, to files. It works mostly with files or other things too?
I mean, it's always the files, but those files can be whatever you want. And
it's what Jay was saying, FizzBuzz was saying about, think about asserts like expected and actual.
Exactly.
So it's received and approved.
Yep.
The file names, one is with received, one is approved.
Yeah.
And it's,
So
does that make sense, JC?
yeah, so what I was trying to link to was like how does us creating an approval test lead to this pattern?
Well, okay, so the other thing that's happening here in the approval test is what's happening on line 30. So on line 30, we are creating this pipeline and then we are verifying that. And what pipeline approvals is doing is saying, you have this structure, let me serialize it into a way I can represent it as a graph is, right? So if we go back to that thing that we're looking at in VS Code, close that test. Yeah. So now look at and close this one. So here we have the receive pipeline, which we are seeing visualized because my brain is not great at parsing a dot file, right? But it's great at parsing the visualization of a dot file, right? So the file that's being created is this text over here, but that's not so helpful for me. I want to see it in these shapes and colors, right? Sorry, Jay, can you open up the approve file? So this is failing because it doesn't match
You want me to compare this received?
We actually do want
this?
to compare this received. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, you know what? You can, if you change the type to beyond compare reporter, and physically run the FizzBuzz pipeline test, it should open this in beyond compare. There. Okay, so now this is actually helpful for me to understand what changed, right? Like, look, up here we added a collector, and we added formatting for the collector as well as a rank for the collector, right? But the thing that has changed since we did it last is we added a collector. And if I want to approve this, just right click and copy it over. Copyright, yeah. Copy everything, right? Select all, copyright. So now if I save this, now everything should be passing.
We changed the fizz. We put that extra Z
Oh,
in.
can we take off the fizz? A little less fizzy. Yay, happy passing test. So, like this idea of like with an assert, how would you verify that the pipeline was set up correctly? Like that is a very difficult thing to do with an assert, right? But with an approval, you can literally just say approvals that verify the pipeline. And so pipelines is orthogonal to approvals, but approvals greatly increases the testability and visualization of pipelines. Does that make sense?
Architecturally, which piece, or from the design, which piece knows about which other piece? Is it approvals knowing about pipelines, or pipelines knowing about approvals?
Yeah. Pipelines doesn't know about approvals, but approvals pipelines does. Approvals has no idea about pipelines either. So pipelines doesn't know about approvals, and approvals doesn't know about pipelines. And there's a connector piece, which is the approval pipelines, that knows about both.
One thing I want to add is we have two kinds of approvals in here. So on line 36, we have the
That's
generic
a good point.
approvals. And on, if you go scroll up a little bit, on line 30 is the approvals that are specific to pipelines.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you, I don't know what that means.
So on line 30, where it says pipeline approvals, like that is actually a separate NuGet package whose sole purpose is to be able to take an input pipe and generate that approved file in the .grave.
There's a bunch of moving parts here. Approvals in general is just save the output from a thing and then compare it to the next time you run the thing.
Yeah.
That general notion. And then pipelines is let me assemble my program from a set of pipe objects.
Yeah.
And then there's pipeline graphing, which is given that set of objects, let me draw a graph.
In
And then there's pipeline approvals, which is given such a drawn graph, let me verify it as an approval test.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which it in itself is a pipeline. And if I remember correctly, Jay, last time you mentioned about building the thing out of its own, out of itself, right? Didn't you mention something? Was that your idea?
So yeah, so that is where this whole kata came out of. But it is not currently a pipeline. And the question is, should it be?
Before you raised that question, or well, you raised it before we answered it, you said you learned something today. What was the thing you learned in a few words, Llewellyn?
The thing I just did, I couldn't do when we started.
Okay, so it all clicked
What
in
I
your
just
head.
did is what I was like, that is what I was seeing over the cliff when I was like, I really want to try this out, right? Like, that process of, so like if I was to restate what just happened, the first test is actually so generic, I could have written it like as a live template, right?
Which test is that?
So if we go back to the code, it's the FizzLine pipeline. So can we just rewrite what the template would actually be, Jay? So can you make a new test method and just call it test pipeline? And then the call would be pipelines approval dot verify create pipeline. And then you'd make a method right underneath this that says 31.5. That would be called create pipelines that returns a whatever our other thing did.
An input pipe?
Not an input pipe, a node pipe or something.
It was an iGraph node.
An iGraph node, yeah.
Okay.
And inside of here, you'd say return input pipe. And I just say object, since we're making template code input. Yeah. So like this is the template code, right? Like this gets you to, I have an input to a pipe. And then step 2 is jump to the viz graph and sketch out what you want your pipeline to be. Which, if you remember, I did in a couple iterations and also incorrectly, right? But it gets me closer to what I wanted.
So can you explain what you did? I mean,
yeah. So if you go back to the viz graph in here, so the first thing I did is, okay, if you look on lines 4 through 9, this is like the basic way you make. Okay, so let's just delete that for right now, and delete all the formatting, because yeah, kill it. Okay, so does it not sync? Save it.
Files.
Oh, because it's a deleted file.
It's not approved.
Open up the approved.
Yeah, we're back. Okay.
Or did you say?
Okay.
Okay. So now, yeah. So now we put so we have some input, right? So we had int, and then goes to, so it's just like the arrow, and then the output was, or the next step is you take that int and you convert it to a string, so toString. Right. And hey, look, like I have a FizzBuzz thingy. But then I was like, I also have to handle fizz. So because it's in those curly brackets, we did like toString, comma, fizz, comma, buzz. Don't even worry about the quotes. Just fizz, buzz. So now it goes to the thing. Then I was like, actually, I only want the toString to be after the buzz, right? But I think I caught myself and realized I have to combine them first. So let's delete the toString here, and then just put an arrow after that and say combine. And then after the combine, have it go to the toString. And this should give me back a string. So just, pop the string, I guess. Whatever. I mean, like, this is sort of the pipeline I had in my head. What I missed out is that to do the toString, I also needed the input. So if I was to sketch here, what I'd probably do is put a new line on 5 and say, in quotes, input goes to toString. And now this is sort of what I had in my head, but of course there was extra steps that I missed out on, because combining, actually, I needed to both combine them and then concatenate them. And then I needed to combine that concatenation and put it into the toString again. But my point here is, like,
just a second. So
yeah.
Before, don't add anything, Jay, not yet. So to me, this drawing is much clearer than previous one, and
yes.
I think it's part of the feedback that when a while ago we did the tutorial, I think, and we were asking why why do you need to make them into a tuple? So, because for me as an end user, this one is much clearer. So if you could do somehow FizzBuzz go directly into combine.
So can you open up the approved? So there's a couple different reasons that this is clear, but the biggest reason is because I'm intelligently deciding what to not show you. So we're not showing you any of the blues, right?
Yes.
So what comes out of here, which usually is quite a useful thing to see, right?
But there was an earlier design where the type would show up like this
Yeah, that, yeah.
instead of getting a separate node. And like that's an option. We could do that.
Yeah, but it did not work out as nice.
So you're saying it should be a label instead of a node?
We played with that, but it was much easier to see and ignore the blue when you get used to it than to just have a ton of text in there.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. We haven't really put much effort into UX here, but
To me, but this is feedback in the beginning. I mean, as a beginner, be much clearer if the blue ones are labels on the arrows than nodes by itself.
I don't know if that's a thing.
also your eyes tend to ignore gray and notice the color more than the other way around.
Oh yeah, maybe we should flip those.
Yeah. So yeah, so if it's less important, for example, the string should be gray and the methods should be more colorful.
So I like that these are methods because I like, like these methods individually would be very testable.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. No,
but I love the way that A plus B looks over like Buzz Converter. Like it just feels like that's much more intention revealing. But the other thing that's happening is there are more steps in this pipe. So there's the part where we join it, and then we concatenate it, and then we join it again, and then that goes into the default pipe.
This is why I was saying, I think the part that the join is, it's needed to create. So you want to create from two things, you create a single thing, which is a tuple. No?
Yeah.
But to me, at least this is what I feel right now.
Yeah.
It's information that I don't really care in, and if you would have two arrows going to a single thing, like you would show with the combine. So
like with the join.
Yeah. So to skip whatever is not really necessary. I don't know. This is my feeling. Take it as a feedback.
No, so sorry. Bring that back up, Jay. What he's saying is take the int32 that goes to join and push it directly to default pipe.
32.
So the join one tuple on line 7. Keep the first part of that, but get rid of the join one tuple. And then have it instead go to the default unit test 1 default pipe. Yeah. You have double arrow in there that you don't mean to. And then the other thing that's coming in, no, that's what he's saying, yeah. And then the other thing he's saying is take the join that's going from string that goes to join on line 5. So have that just go straight to A plus B.
We're just not sure the two bolts in the graph.
Yes. So it could be like an
I think you're
implementation.
saying not even show the join.
Yeah, if even so, the join, the arrows go directly into A plus B without going through join first.
The problem is then what do we do with the different types of joins?
Okay, so
But I hear what you're saying. But let's try it out anyway. So take the join out. And you make a point. Like this is a nice view. You know what might be the case? Maybe there's a wonderful Malcolm Gladwell TED Talk where he talks about this guy in Pepsi's, right? And he's like, up until this point, like Pepsi hired this guy to figure out what is the optimal sweetness for Pepsi. And so he does all this testing and he gets this like graph and he's like, there's a spike here and a spike here, and he averages it, and that's the Pepsi that we taste, right? But later on he has this insight, which is, I shouldn't have made the perfect Pepsi. I should have made Pepsi's, right? And so he went on to like, and now if you go to like buy, you know, like orange juice, you don't have like the perfect amount of pulp. You have high pulp, you have low pulp, no pulp, right? Like you have options. And the reason I'm saying that is like maybe we shouldn't try to make the perfect representation of here. Maybe we should have different ways you can visualize the thing. And so like maybe like you make the choice. I don't want to see the joins, or I want to see everything, or.
So I would like that, to have the option to, because some things are much clearer to me, at least at this stage.
With a different lens.
Yeah, and yeah, that would be nice to have options.
I'm wondering if a first step at that could just be the resolution, because that's essentially what we did, right? Like almost like how much do you zoom in at the highest level? It can just be the blocks, and then as you can say like lowest maybe highest resolution, and then you can. No, I'm getting them the wrong way around. But one of them can be just the gray boxes. Another one can be in between the join and so on, and another one can just be like the function, the types getting passed through it, right?
Yeah.
Just because otherwise it gets confusing if you just turn this on, turn this off. I'm not sure, but
yeah. And one thing I would like to see, I mean, I know Llewellyn talked about it, but I would like the idea of the composability. So I create pipelines of pipelines, so you can compose them. And sometimes, because you know, sometimes I mean, for sure, when you start creating a bigger program, you will have too many things, so you'll put them into functions, let's say, I mean, and you compose pipelines into other pipelines, and you can drill down, so drill in and drill out.
So when you're looking at the composition of pipelines, you would just see a box where there's a pipeline that you could then maybe look at in more detail.
With the name and this thing, and then because that will help probably. I mean, right now we're doing pretty simple programs that don't have.
Oh, hey, how did you do that, Jay?
Label.
Oh, label.
Huh, I do kind of like that.
So I like the labels more than another box because it's less noisy, and if I'm interested, so if I'm interested in the type that flows through, I can see that.
someone was talking and in the middle of a sentence a second ago.
Oh, sorry, I got excited.
Oh, no worries. What was that though? Pipeline. Was it you, Jacqueline, talking, or someone was in the middle of a sentence? I feel that I lost the train of thought.
I can't remember if it was me or Valentin replying to me.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't.
I do have like a few questions, just from a beginner perspective. So this approval test that we're writing, this is showing like this is the intent, right? This is the idea that I want my program to be of a certain shape. and then as I'm writing my program, it should conform to this shape. Is that right?
That's a really good
Yes.
question, Jason.
What you're saying is right, but what you're attributing it to is wrong. Like, what we're doing here is just a version of sketching on the whiteboard. Right? Now, the test, like one of the properties, the 4 benefits of tests, is specification. And this allows us to really quickly get to a place where we can specify how does data flow through this process, right? The pipelines are really data flowing through a process. But, you know, basically, like, you don't need approvals to do this at all. You could just open up a VizGraph document and, you know, you can call you don't even need a name on this file. Like, you just open up a new document in VS Code and visualize it, or, you know, you could do this in PowerPoint. Like the thing is, we're sketching on a whiteboard. Like, we're just sketching out the flow. The fact that we wrote a test that says, let me verify the flow, is what's helping us to ask this question. But it's only helping us to ask the question. You can ask the question on your own. Like, you don't need approvals to do this. It's just encouraging.
I think, I'm sorry, did I say approvals?
Yeah.
I meant, so right now we're looking at pipeline, isn't that right? Like, we're writing a graph, a VizGraph, right? Is that, maybe I should just back up a little, because there's so much uncertainty right now.
Yeah.
Are we looking at a VizGraph graph right now?
Right now, we're just writing a VizGraph graph.
Okay, so in GraphViz, we're making a graph in GraphViz right now, and we're using it to, like, show our intent, right? Now, there's no code that mirrors this intent until we write it. Is that right?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I mean, we had some ideas. Maybe, for example, for me, how would maybe it would look better in this way, and we tried that, and that was, yeah. So it's not right now what's in the code. There's no correspondence. But
interesting though, if you could convert this graph into code.
Is that not our ultimate goal, to convert this intent into code?
I mean, not automatically.
Right, not automatically. But is there some sort of
machines that do that intent to code?
I think what is happening here, right, is you're writing down. So when you usually design software, you take a piece of paper and you draw boxes, right? And then you kind of program into that direction. That's what you do with TDD as well, right? You express your intent first, and then you move into that direction. Now, if you combine that, though, if you let the computer actually draw the graph for you, not only do you get the layouting for free, but you also can use the approval testing and create a new synergy, which is at some point it will tell you when you have your design done, when you have all the pieces exactly as you intended them to be, right? So we go the other way around. We describe what we want, we figure out the steps to get there, and then the computer tells us when we hit actually our intent, right? So it's kind of like getting from where we are to what we want to be, and the computer says done, right?
Yes,
it's not the other way around.
Except for, even though I did that, I did not do that. Like, I just want to really call this out, right? Like, we did not create an approved file that, when we made it, passed. We created an approved file that gave us enough intent that we could recognize when we made it, and then we copied over, because, you know, it's like the devil in the details kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, to me, this graph that is right now on the screen is much clearer and much simpler than the current.
I mean, there's a lot I like about this graph. You changed the architecture, which I find interesting.
Not intentionally.
Okay, but do you recognize how it's changed when I call it out?
I wasn't quite sure what to do here.
So the difference here is you are turning the number into a string always. And then, so in this situation, if I did FizzBuzz, I would get Fizz and Buzz and 15 which would then turn into FizzBuzz and 15, which would then go to the 2-string, which would choose FizzBuzz and discard 15, which I don't care about because it's not like an expensive operation to make a 2-string. But, the way we did it before, we only create the 15 if nothing came out of Fizz or Buzz. And again, this is not a question of which architecture is better. I'm just pointing out that it's different.
Okay,
I
maybe.
was really trying to focus on the appearance.
Yeah. No, and I like a lot of this appearance more.
Have you tried using like rectangular orthogonal edges?
But if
because
you want...
that's...
Sorry, no, finish. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh yeah, Jay, do you mind if I try one setting while the conversation goes on?
I'm okay with that, but actually there's something else I think is really important that we do, which is schedule our next mob.
Oh yeah.
We're a couple minutes past the time box for this discussion.
That's a good.
I'm bad with time boxes.
Oops.
Pulling up calendars. I'm going to take us off Twitch for this. Does that sound like a good idea? I'm just going to pause streaming. How's that? Is there a way to pause? There is. Technical difficulties.
Before you turn it back on, Llewellyn, do you something to work? That was cool to see, like the.
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Yes, I do.
Nice.
All right. Can you lead retro, Jay, as I try to get this calendar right in?
So one more question that I have to the newer members of the mob: does the discussion that we had about the pipelines, did it make sense? Or was it confusing? What do you guys and girls think?
I was able to follow it. It was easier when I saw the pipeline. I think until that point it was kind of still a bit of an abstract concept in my brain, but once I saw it, it was like, oh, I get what you're talking about.
What about you, JC?
So more so than the last time we talked about it, but not much more. I think that there's a lot of details that escapes me because I think there's too much like background knowledge that I'm not aware of. So I'm just trying to do the same thing that I do in the previous weeks and just try to learn on the fly and see where that takes me.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, it's like, hey, you've been here for 2 weeks, but the truth is you've been here for 4 hours, right? Like there's not a lot of actual time to absorb quite a lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. By now we would be in the. I mean, since we started, I think would be maybe second or third day.
Yeah.
In a
at
regular
a company. Which is still like you're just figuring out where the water cooler is.
Okay, that's it.
So as far as retro goes, I think what we're doing is each person opens the mind map on their local machine.
Yeah. So that works for me.
Okay.
In that case, I'm gonna put the mind map that's on my machine into the main window so people can see it. There we go. All right, we probably should just start these out in productivity mode.
And then there's a bunch of links that got added of various videos. I think I heard Jacqueline say, "Do you have a video of something?" And I don't know exactly what you want a video for, but I'm sure it's somewhere in this list.
So can we put names to these videos? So if you put a name, it will replace the link with the actual name.
Okay, somebody could do that.
Sure.
But group combo could be something a little bit different. All right, so let's start with the what happened, which, how is that different than observations? I'm not really sure.
No,
And
I can't do that. Someone else will have to do it.
Also, there's a...
Oh, so what happened is just a straight, like literally what happened.
And so observations is a little bit of interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of times it's, I mean, it's only been like 2.5 hours, but already it's easy to forget what happened at the beginning. Like the first thing is it took us 20 minutes, but I forgot why.
Mm-hmm. And then a good thing to focus on is the emotions item. If you notice any emotion that you had come up, go ahead and add an entry to that, and then try to remember what event happened right before that emotion, because that can unlock a lot.
Robert, the latency. Like I know it was there, but it feels like in general it was much better. How is it feeling on your side?
It was only this one time that the screen froze, but it seemed to freeze for more people. For the rest,
there was a
yeah,
freeze for everybody, but I don't think that was a latency issue. I think
Nah,
something went
it's
weird with AnyDesk.
maybe indeed. That was the only hiccup. For the rest, it was perfect.
Perfect. All right, Jacqueline, I actually don't know where you are. Where are you? You're on mute.
I'm in the mind map. I was just trying to figure out how to add a node.
No, I meant physically in the world.
Oh, I'm in Calgary, Canada.
Canada.
Yeah. Where are you guys?
West Coast?
Not on the coast. It's sort of
Western.
there's BC, which is on the coast, and then there's Alberta, which is the province next to it.
Yeah.
Calgary's in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, it is western.
No, because you came recommended from Tony, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tony is in
Yeah.
Calgary.
There's like a whole, let's see, reporters aren't working. Empty files and was the only problem with the reporters that it couldn't create the empty files?
I think so. We did talk about the idea of having approvals print out a diff when it's running under nCrunch, which is a feature request, not a problem.
Oh, yeah, that's good. We never actually checked it though, did we?
I looked. It just says the approved file didn't match the received file.
Received. All right. Yeah, that's easy to fix. We should fix that.
All right. Well, people may have more to add, but just in the interest of time boxing, let's go over things from this list that stands out for us.
Well, I'm going to go really quick through things and then call it out when they stand out. So in terms of what I'm confused about, what is a good pipeline-based design for this problem? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I don't know the answer to that. Like, I feel like our answer worked. Is it good?
I don't know how to evaluate good yet.
Yeah. So in terms of what happened, my turn for learning. We set up a Git repo after the first test passed. That's actually an excellent observation because can somebody who's on the machine like actually commit what's there and push it? We didn't. Oh, and also, I'm not sure if people have seen this before, but like because we put all the authors, the Git commit will show all of us as authors, which is a nice little feature of GitHub. Actually, not a feature of Git, feature of GitHub. Keys got stuck. We had a little bit of latency, although it seemed like the time is working out good for you to see if there's latency, right, Robert? Having the seconds?
Yeah, that definitely helps. Yeah.
I don't know if can you show seconds on a Mac. The confused navigator, confused driver. So I guess like there are times where both people were confused. Is that because we didn't like? Should we have reordered better or? Any insights there? Or there was also the time where I forget who it was, but JC was navigating and I guess Damien was typing and Damien was like, there's too many people like for me to pay attention to. So we might just need to do stricter navigate the navigator.
Well, I think that might have been my part to like maybe coordinate conversations better as a navigator.
I like that concept of talker.
This is something that I've seen come up with in-person mobs where everybody is yelling at ideas at the same time. But in this context, with audio quality and audio latency, it's harder. Our normal like monkey brain tools for navigating a bunch of people talking struggle in this context. So we need to have more protocols or more discipline or more something to navigate through this and manage this problem.
Like in a real like a room, 3 or 4 conversations going on at the same time is completely navigatable, and completely not navigatable in like a Zoom call. I mean, I guess part of the problem is like we're all whispering in each other's ears, right? So it's not like. So wrote some VizGraph code. The reporters aren't working. In terms of notes, we have lots of videos and blog links. Okay, observations. Domain. The getting started guide is out of date. Yes. That would be a good thing to fix. It's like that was written really early on. Like those aren't even code blocks in there, right? Like those hard coded pieces of code. That's horrible. We should probably update that.
By the way, we didn't discuss what we did. I mean, in the MD file, the one that we keep track of what we did and what we're gonna do next time.
That's a good point.
Ooh. Because I was just gonna ask, can we add it to some form of to-do list?
Yeah, let's do that. Somebody on the AnyDesk? Let's open up our to-do. Oh, we need it in a different project. Oh, like that project isn't even open at the moment.
Want to open that project?
Yeah, let's do that. It should be under recent.
Oh, should we push the code to GitHub?
Yes. Because this machine will not exist this afternoon. Commit.
Just without comments?
Last state. All right. Yeah, do open up the new project. Pipelines under. Maybe we can't edit that markdown file from here.
The to-do file is not in the pipelines project, it's at the root. So if you go to solution items and open that, you'll see it.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So
Last session. FizzBuzz Kata. I am really glad we didn't start with refactoring pipelines to pipelines. Like, I feel like that would have been a disaster. We have other katas we might want to try out, but also in the similar to-dos, we need to fix that documentation.
Sorry, are we done with the FizzBuzz Kata? Do you want to continue? I don't know. Do we feel it's like it's done, or should we? I mean, do we continue the FizzBuzz or doing something else?
I would actually not know what to improve. I think it's code.
I think for my end, not necessarily what to improve. I still don't understand really how we did the kata.
Would it be worth doing like a repeat then?
Let's do that.
But
That's
that
the nice
was a
thing about the
question.
kata. We can do it again, right?
Yeah.
I need to. I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
Something that stood out for me though is this is the first time that I was not the host. I didn't do the machine setup. We had a different J do that, and it worked out. And I'm really glad because I worry about bottlenecks or knowledge silos in a mob. So I'm glad that I'm not in that position anymore for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that did work out really nice. Okay, Owen, can I just get a thumb vote? Do you want to repeat the FizzBuzz or not? All right. Done. So let's just put next session, repeat FizzBuzz Kata.
And somewhere in there, can we note update documentation? Maybe
Yeah.
not next time, but somewhere.
I like the idea of update documentation. We can do it either next or, but I like doing it close because right now, like we are as close as we will ever be to beginner mind on the documentation, right? Like every time we move forward, we lose beginner mind. Okay, commit and push that as well.
I have to drop off.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Paladin.
I'm just gonna do one quick.
It's a different
Who wrote
project, right?
the regret under use my turn for talking instead of learning?
That's me.
Can you give me more on that?
I saw how Jacqueline used her turn, and I was considering whether or not I should also use my turn for learning. But then I think I saw what Damien was doing before me. I thought I could contribute by following his example.
All right.
But really, I think that what I should have done is just use my turn for learning like Jacqueline did. But because I think that I had a lot more questions that needed to be answered before I could actually contribute.
Nice. All right, cool. So hopefully next time we won't have that regret anymore. There's another C using VizGraph on my job. Was that for someone who's here?
That's me. I think that to see how you can quickly sketch a graph.
Nice.
It's fairly simple code.
Yeah.
I might try that.
I had the
used
same
it.
thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
I used VizGraph on a client where we did a learning hour trying to understand how their build process worked. And it worked really nice. And the graph that came out of it was helpful for people. Like it was one of those things you can print out and be like, yeah, I understand what's actually going on now. You're just VizGraph. Yeah.
The best part is the layouting, I find, because every time you do it in a graphing tool, like you add a new box and you manually have to rearrange everything in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can rearrange it later to make it look like you want. My advice is don't until you're absolutely sure the data is right, because otherwise it's super annoying. There's confusion. Did I miss any pre-work? I mean, the answer there is definitely not. There's no pre-work to this. But there is confusion.
Yeah, I felt a little bit out of a loop, but I didn't know if I missed something I was supposed to be looking at, or if
Well, I mean, to be
it was
fair,
learning as you go.
you're out of the loop because this is your first time in
Yep.
the loop. But it's not. There's no like gatekeeping, right? Like in terms of like you have to do this, this, and this to get in. However, you are now like the third person to join the mob since we've started, right? So JC, you, and Damien. I feel like it's because getting the mob started, if you remember, Robert, in the very beginning, like that was much harder, right? When everybody was new. getting people to like understand stuff. I feel like it's going more smoothly. How was it? So you were confused today. Were you like, what? Was it
Mainly
okay?
because I'd never seen pipelines before, but you guys touched on stuff that I'd